Hi and welcome to Learn Law with Hannah. We are discussing law and morality today. So this could be an essay question on paper 3, section A, 20 marker for OCR. Okay, so I would start off looking at the AO1 and I would talk about what is a rule. Well, Twining says a rule is a general norm mandating or guiding conduct. I would then say that there are legal rules and there are moral rules. So legal rules are laws. There's a formal punishment if they're not obeyed. They're made by the sovereign body, so they're made by Parliament. Moral rules, so morals, are things that society deem to be right or wrong. I would state also that we live in a pluralist society. So the UK is a multicultural country with lots of morals, lots of different cultures, so therefore lots of different morals. So we've said what a rule is, we've said what a moral is, we've said what a law is, and then I think I would mention some overlaps between the two. So for example, murder, it's illegal to kill, but it's also wrong morally in most situations. Some things you could argue are illegal, like theft, but maybe it's not immoral. If you were stealing nappies for a baby because you were so poor that you couldn't afford them. So after our definitions, I would then talk about the characteristics of laws and the characteristics of morals. For example, acts of Parliament, so laws have a definitive, they have a start date. So acts have a start date, whereas morals can be slow to change, they develop over time. There's no actual set dates in which they start. Enforcement of laws is formal, so it's police, it's the courts. Enforcement of morals is informal, you are excluded by society. Then I would mention, as the next point, positivism. So I would talk about Hart, who believes in the separation of law and morality. So Hart was saying morals are not the law's business, they are a private judgment. I would just evaluate that and say, well, is it possible to separate them? I would then talk about what natural law is. So natural law rejects positivism and says that law should be based on morality and ethics. So Devlin said that you mustn't separate crime from sin. So the law needs to support morals and judges should protect common morality. There's the argument that judges have different morals because they are perhaps out of touch, they tend to be upper class and older. Then what I would do, I think, there's probably enough there for the AO1. So we've, said this is what a law is, this is what a rule is, this is what a moral is, overlaps, characteristics, positivism, Hart, natural law, Devlin, pluralist society. We then need to focus on the AO3, which is 12 marks, so your evaluation of law and morals. And what I would do is I would pick a couple of case examples from the positivist side, and I would pick a couple of case examples from natural law, and I would discuss whether law and morals are intertwined there or not. So the case examples that I've got here, Wilson, you could talk, that was the buttock branding case, everyone remembers that, and talk about how they said that law has no place in getting involved in what a husband and wife do in private. You could talk about Evans. She wasn't allowed to use embryos fertilized by her ex-boyfriend. He refused. And they said that the law of consent overrides emotion. So what we're saying is law and morality was, they were kept separate in those cases. And then perhaps, look at a couple of natural law examples. Brown is a very good example because law and morals were intertwined there. They said that it was unnatural practices for harmful sexual activity, and the law had to protect people. So there's definitely a moral element that got there. You could also, you could talk about cases like Diane Pretty. She wanted her husband to kill her. She had motor neurone disease, and they said that it's immoral. We cannot let someone kill someone, and it is illegal. So law and morals intertwined in those cases. Other issues I would talk about is it's difficult to enforce everybody's morals in a pluralist society, just simply because there are so many morals. You can't keep everybody happy. Politicians sometimes will avoid controversial laws because they just want to be re-elected. Think about who is enforcing morals. It is your politicians, it is your judges. Are the judges out of touch? The other issue is that morals change. The law sometimes seems slow to keep up with this. Think about things like cyber flashing. It's like, why is this not illegal? It's completely immoral to send photos of your genitals to someone without their consent, yet the law is not yet illegal. I mean, they are looking at this with the online safety bill, but it hasn't yet been passed. So morality probably moves at a faster pace. Other things you can talk about whether you agree with Hart or Devlin, and the opposing views that they have. It is difficult to enforce morals, and how do we protect morals? So really you have to come to your own conclusion about whether the law does have a role in enforcing morals. I mean, if it doesn't, then I guess you could kind of think, well, what is the purpose of law? So I would set it out with your AO1, like I did at the beginning, and then your AO3. Any questions? Please comment below.